Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about why highest aligned realities change, which is in the beginning of our ascension process when we start looking at and hearing the term, highest aligned, soul aligned, the highest of the highest aligned, we can get into a reality, and because the reality is happening, we assume it's highest aligned, feeling that that's as high as we can go, you know, and it can take us years. And I always, even though there is no time, I like sometimes we have to put in linear time because I don't want anyone to think this process takes 20 minutes or 2 months. You know, it can take a long linear amount of time and a lot of iterations, but that's just because we're so separated inside. And it does get quicker later on when we're not as separated inside, when we start dissolving that separation, where we can move through this stuff a lot faster. But in the beginning, we see a lot of realities dissolve and we see a lot of things go away. And we said, well, I thought that came in when I was on my ascension process, when I was more conscious, when I thought I was in a higher consciousness state. Why did that one go away? Why are these people that are coming in to help me create higher consciousness content or, higher consciousness creations? Why are they going away? I thought that meant it was highest aligned. Why are all these people disappearing? When it felt like we had synergy, what's going on? And there are a lot of things that go into play here. One, the highest will change because as you go through your journey, as you go through your ascension journey, your consciousness continually goes higher. So what was highest aligned before is no longer highest aligned. And to break down highest aligned means it's highest aligned to something you need to work through. We need to work through. It could be highest aligned to a human program, and we see a lot of that in our human realities because we'll also, people will say, well, how can you have realities in your human existence and when you're operating from your human consciousness, and so they're highest aligned? Yeah, they're highest aligned to human beliefs. They're highest aligned to help you work through different things from a human that are ingrained in your human DNA. They're highest aligned for a reason. It's just not the highest aligned. Everything that comes up in our reality is aligned to something. It just might not be aligned to what we thought it was aligned to. It might be aligned for us to work through twin karma, right? I had one that came in like that, and I'm like, oh, it's highest aligned. Well, technically in that moment it is highest aligned because I got to work through this stuff so I can then go on to the next parts of my journey and anchor in different consciousness. It doesn't mean it's the most highest aligned reality I'm ever going to have. It's just in that moment it's highest aligned to what I'm trying to work on. We talk a lot on this channel about different years, and every linear year you might see just something else you're working on, even though it really doesn't follow the linear year calendar, but you'll definitely see the beats and the cadences of different things you worked on in different spans of time. And what was highest line last year, you might start to see fade away, like the main purpose of your reality is starting to change. Your roles are changing. Different people might be coming in for you to fill different roles with, for you to guide into the next part of their journey, or they're going to help guide you in the next part of your journey. And usually it's both. Everyone's kind of working together to work through stuff. And you start to see that, and because things that were highest line before fade away, we just assume, oh, that wasn't highest line. I was wrong. That wasn't highest line. We start to judge that we don't know the difference anymore. Why is it going away if it's highest aligned? It's no longer highest aligned. You can now go higher. And that was not the highest. And when you get through the other realities, you start to see why. You start to see like, oh, I really like living in this space better, but I could see now that the relationship I had with the landlord was very distorted, right? And then you get to a place where, okay, well, this feels better. I might not like the space quite as much, but it feels better because I can now create a different space. I can take the space I have and create something new, because now it's highest line for me to learn to transform something. You transform a space I don't like that much into something that supports my body and supports me energetically. And that's more important. It supports my process. Because where we live is a big part of what supports our process. So we go through a lot of different timelines, and we can get discouraged because we feel like we're setting up something, and it feels highest line and everything's working great, and all of a sudden it shifts. The whole thing will start to shift because someone else is going through a different part of their process. And it's no longer highest aligned for them to be there anymore. You know, they want something else. They want to go, maybe they want to go back and play in human stuff. Maybe we went back and played in human stuff. So we start to see things fade out and dissolve kind of around us. And we can get very, it brings up a lot of sadness when this stuff happens. And we clear a lot of sadness over all these timelines because nothing, for a while, it feels like nothing really sticks. And especially when we're trying to create with a lot of different people or even bring people in to create with, because we really have to be at a consciousness to be able to work with that person. And they have to be open to, no matter what consciousness they're at, to work with us too on creating from a place with open hearts and really wanting to be in a reality that's not based on human wants and needs and human success, whether it would be valued as a human success. And it's not an easy process to go through. So when we're in these timelines and they're collapsing and they're collapsing and they're collapsing, and we work so hard to set them up where they wouldn't collapse, but it's just not working, there's something higher line we have to go to. And it might not be highest line is something you want to work with. You know, you might not want to go back and delve in some of this stuff. But by not doing it, we're not able to reach the next thing. The timeline that might be 5 frequencies above the one we're at right now, because we have too much baggage in the way. We're not operating as a higher aspect in some realities. We might be operating in a higher aspect in this reality. But there might be 4 or 5 others floating around where we're not operating as a higher aspect, and we know it. We know we're showing up because we want something. We know we're showing up because we need something. We're not being there for the other people when they need something. We know we're kind of in a fractal, in a sense, of an aspect of us. We're not holding it through all our realities. We're not able to hold it yet. So what your universe might do is dissolve the ones that you are able to hold in for a while. They might come back in at some point later on. They might just dissolve them because you're able to hold your highest in those realities. And now we're going to bring in other people that you've struggled with that. Can you now hold your highest here? And sometimes the minute we hold our highest consciousness here and we hold this reality to its highest, it doesn't mean it's going to be around for a long period of time. It just means in that moment we can hold it to its highest. It still might dissolve if other people don't want to stay in that reality that is held to its highest. And then if the people are all gone, the reality goes, right? Then we got to go and establish it again. And we will get in realities where it's just us. And that, well, you will find that's a lot easier to hold to your highest when it's just you got to worry about, even though we are a full-time job and we're always going to be working through so much stuff, trying to get to the next phase, trying to get to the next thing and get to the next frequency, you know, and continue to on our journey of anchoring in more of our higher consciousness aspects. So don't be discouraged when what you thought was highest aligned no longer is. You will see that it pushed you forward, and you might get pushed into doors and different realities that you're like, oh, how can this be highest aligned? This does not, it feels miserable. Sometimes it can feel miserable because it's pushing us. It's pushing us to clear things up we didn't want to clear up. It's pushing us to face things we didn't want to face. It might be pushing us through something you feared you would have to do one day, and now you got to go do it. And we might say, well, how is that highest aligned? It's highest aligned for us to clear the stuff out. It's highest aligned for us to clear the program out of our body. This is a reality that took to do that. Highest aligned won't always mean it's the easiest, most beautiful reality. That's another misconception that, oh my God, I'm floating on a cloud in this reality. It's highest aligned. Doesn't mean that. It can get there where you can feel complete peace and you know, okay, this is highest aligned right now, but it can take a while to get to those realities, because sometimes when we're in the highest aligned realities, you also have such a high frequency in the reality, it's getting you to get all this stuff up. You know, you're trying to operate from a higher aspect in this reality. It's more challenging. We have a lot of stuff coming up. We might have a lot of physical. Our body's not feeling great because we're trying to get the stuff out of our body, and we're like, how is this highest aligned? It feels miserable. But it's an important part of our process. So don't get so bogged down don't get so bogged down and get disappointed when what we were doing that we thought was highest line starts collapsing. So a lot of reasons for that. Sometimes we know the reasons, sometimes we might not know the reasons for years later or months later. We might not know. Just continue to ask for the highest line reality. The highest of the highest of the highest. And sometimes I'll say that, like if this is not the highest of the highest and the highest I can get to right now, I don't want to do it. I don't really want to do it because sometimes it might feel like it's kind of the same thing, or I'm going to trudge through some more stuff. It just feels like I've done it, and I'm going to be going back and reliving out old realities. So really communicate with your universe, and which is just yourself, higher aspects of yourself, and just say, what is highest line? And is this highest line for now? And when it goes, okay, it's not highest line anymore. Highest line changes like that. One person shifts and the whole thing is not highest aligned anymore. It doesn't mean it wasn't highest line when you brought it together, but it also might not mean it was highest aligned to your soul. It might have been something highest line still to your human stuff. So everything that comes in is aligned to something. It might be aligned to your human, and that's the stuff we have to look at. And even the things that we felt were highest line for our soul might not have been great to trudge through, but we had to trudge through them. And things that we might be enjoying, go, oh, this feels really great. Eventually it'll start to decay, and it'll start to fall away, because as our frequency changes, highest line will constantly shift. The goalpost is constantly moving. And that's just how it is when you're working through and you're in your ascension process. It's constantly going to be moving as you go higher and higher and higher, and you anchor in that consciousness. So, okay, I'm going to make this short today. Okay, keep practicing the art of intuition.